You're listening to the Visibly Fit podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Wendie Pett, and every week I'll give you holistic, practical solutions for everyday issues related to nutrition, healing, functional fitness, and behavior modifications. As a natural path fitness expert and wellness coach for over 20 years, my goal is to empower you to reach for greater health and to rise up to your next level of living in mind, body, and spirit. You were created with greatness in mind. It's time to own it. Are you with me? Then let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Visibly Fit. I'm your host, Wendie Pett. And, this is a new year, right? If you're listening to this live time, this is a new year. And a lot of people are, making those New Year resolutions and really want to stick with them. But sometimes we get off track and we want to know why. Like it's typically a mindset issue. And so I know I've talked about that before on the podcast, but I have a guest here with me today who is really all about mindset. And she is the president and founder of Keeping It Personal. It's a national Christian faith-based organization, and that she's passionate about coming alongside women entrepreneurs, helping business owners and sales professionals, just helping them strategically grow in their business. She's had over 25 years of professional experience in operations management, sales, and marketing in a variety of industries that are knowledge-based and that can be adapted to any business model, whether you're trying to just start out in your business or you're looking to scale your business. But she is a personal growth expert. And that's one of the things I love about her, because she's all about encouraging and helping people in their next steps, not just in business development strategies, but also with their own personal development. And so she is a dear friend of mine. She is the founder of the Refine community and author of the book, Overcoming the Nevers. And their unique approach is really helping people transform their lives by guiding and motivating them to achieve their most deeply desired goals personally and professionally. And so, I have worked with her on a professional level, but we have worked together personally. Like I said, we are dear friends. And we've prayed together, like we've been prayer warriors together. Like I'm so excited to have Teri on the podcast today, because I really do. I want to talk about mindset. She has written a book called Overcoming the Nevers, and she says that we experience the negative nevers that life inevitably throws at us. And this is on her website. They leave lingering feelings of shame, embarrassment, and resentment. Y'all know I've talked a lot about those low vibrational frequency emotions before. But these toxic feelings can manifest in our lives, causing insecurities and fear, for some of us, even depression and anxiety. So she has been there herself. She has overcome those negative nevers. And we're just really going to dive in. We're going to talk about mindset. And it's not going to be necessarily business focused or health focused, but yet we're going to intertwine the two conversations together. And I think you will be blessed immensely. So welcome to Visibly Fit, Teri Johnson. How are you? This is so...
There we go. Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me today.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is such a good, perfect time of year to have you on the show, because, Visibly Fit is all about being visibly fit, mind, body, spirit, emotionally. But, when we are in a place in our business, right, or as entrepreneurs or just whatever, we can get stuck into this rut of emotional shaming and blaming and all the things, but even around our health, like everything can all intertwines together. And so I want us to talk about mindset, because you are so great at encouragement. You are great at helping people see beyond what they can see. And I've experienced that myself with you. So let's talk a little bit about, why do you think that people tend to be stuck kind of year after year? They start making those same New Year resolutions year after year. I know what I would say, but I want to hear what Teri Johnson would say.
Well, first of all, I want to just back up, because when you were doing the introduction, you said that we've, prayed together or whatever. And I'm like, we've belly laughed together. We've cried together. There are so many things. And I absolutely love and adore you. And it's so cool how God brought us together way back. And I think it was like 2011, maybe 2012. Yeah. It was, 2012, I think. And gosh, that's like over 10 years that
Isn't that
we've been
amazing?
able to yeah, just share life together. So I appreciate you. I love you, and I love what you're doing with your clients. I was had the honor and the opportunity to be one of them, and so I love what you're up to, and all of that thing. So I just wanted to start with that. So, and we
Aw.
can talk more about that. But okay, here's the thing: if we want something to change, we need to change. For anything to change, we need to change.
That's right.
And the reason why people keep circling the same mountains over and over and over again is because there's this desire, maybe like I might be motivated at the beginning of the year to change, but then I'm not really doing what it takes to change the underlying things that will keep me going and sustain that motivation, which is ultimately a discipline to be able to change.
Right.
And so that's why we keep going back to the same old things over and over. And there's so many different areas of our life that we repeat these behaviors in. It could be personally, in our relationships, with our finances, our health and wellness, all of it, our businesses. And so that's my perspective on it. And I'm always a work in progress. So I haven't arrived and gotten to this aha place where I've got this 100% figured out. I think when it comes to mindset, the minute we think we've conquered something, we realize that fast forward a few weeks, something triggers us and it trips us up, right? And then it's so easy for us to get back into old patterns, old behaviors. And so it's something that we have to consistently work on and refine and grow in. But yeah, there's no purple pill. No purple pill.
And I think that, people wish that there was
Yeah,
just that
for
pill.
sure.
And I mean, that's what I experience on a day-to-day basis. Like, just give me the quick fix. Just tell me what I need to do really quick and make it all just go away. And that's not how it works. So, when we change our mind, then our body follows. And so, while we want to we have a desire and we want to change, but are you willing to do the work? And that's where, you and your team come in on a business perspective, but I know you're all about personal too, but to keep people accountable. And that's where you and I align in that way, that we understand the value and the importance of accountability, because,
oh my gosh,
if you don't have the accountability, you just will not change. I mean, there's just a slight few that will, should I say, because there are some that will. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's good.
What I was thinking is a lot of times people won't share their desires or what they want to do because of the accountability piece. Like if I tell somebody, then I'm kind of like obligated to keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's that fear component of like, well, if I really tell somebody like, this is my goal, or this is what I hope to accomplish this year, or I like with the health and wellness, I want to release this many pounds and I want to
see, I've got you saying release. I love that.
Oh
Teri.
yeah. I have, because so one of the funniest things I remember, like when I first started working with you, it's like, I lost. You're like, no, you didn't lose, you released. I'm like, yeah, because if I lost them, maybe somebody else found them. We don't want that.
And you don't want to find them either. Yeah.
I don't want to find them back. No, I just release it, shed it, get rid of it. But yeah, I'll never forget that. You're like, yep, somebody lost it and somebody else found it. So, but no, so obviously with everything, we have to understand why we're doing it. So like and I love that we're talking about this time of year, because I can guarantee you that somebody listening in right now, at the end of the year, set their goals. Now we're at almost like the end of the first month, and chances are you're already off track. Chances are you're already off track. So we can go back to this one foundational piece, which I think is huge. And it might sound a little bit like, oh my gosh, I've heard this before. What are you talking about? But why you want it? Why do you want this? Because if we're not super clear about that, then we're not going to be able to keep going, because nothing else will be strong enough to fuel us to keep going. So if we are clear about why, whether it's like losing weight, why we want a stronger marriage, why we want to stop spending so much, why we want to, grow our businesses, whatever it is. Why do we want that? And I always tell people to ask the question like 4 or 5 times. Why is that important?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dig deeper. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now tell me why that's important, and tell me why that's important. And eventually you get down to this really deep level of why. And like, okay, so now that we know why, what's the plan?
Yeah. That's
What's the
just
plan?
it. What's the plan? And first of all, I'm glad that you're even bringing this up because, nothing is new under the sun, right? But what I'll say is that it all, from the deep-rooted why to having a plan to accountability, it is all the same in every area of our life, whether it's business, whether it's professional, whether, or for personally, whatever, it's all the same. Like, what's your why? What's your plan? Who's holding you accountable? Like, it sounds like the same kind of conversation, but yeah, it is, because the whole big holistic approach to who you are as a person and the lifestyle that you're desiring to live, it's all connected. And so having a plan is vital. And so let's talk about having a plan and how to even start a plan. I think some people get hung up on, I don't even know where to start. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think, okay, so it goes back to what is it that we're desiring to do? What change do we want to see? Like, when you kicked off the new year, what was that 1, 2, or 3 things where you're like, okay, for 2023, this is what I really want. This is what I desire. Okay. Now, if we don't know where to start, we start asking. And this is where it actually, if you ask not, you have not.
That's
if
right.
You don't ASK, you don't GET, right? So
that's right.
I always tell people, like, you just have to start asking. Yeah, exactly. And so we just have to start putting our feelers out there. And that's what I've done in so many different levels. Like, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. I'm going to start looking. Has anyone done this before? And it's so good to find people who've gone before you and have a plan that's worked for them that you might be able to also follow, right? So finding somebody that goes before you, somebody who's had success in that area, a mentor, a coach, whatever ends up being. Obviously, there's books you can read. I mean, there's so many different ways for us to find something. But then the next part of it is even probably more crucial than the plan.
Take action.
Right? Well, no, it's discipline.
Right. The discipline to even take action.
Well, that's just it. It's like, I can have all this knowledge. I can know exactly what to do. But if I'm not going to wake up every day and do it, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, knowledge is power if it's implemented.
Absolutely.
If it's not, it's up in our brain. And then we start to have like these feelings of like, oh shoot, I'm a failure. Whatever. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Whatever. I'm never going to make it anyway. And we start to just tell ourselves these things. And then that goes back to our mindset. And we feel defeated.
Yeah, no, I'm actually glad you're bringing that up, Teri, because I know a lot of people that know a lot of information, right?
Yeah.
And yet their life doesn't reflect the information that they know. And so this is for someone listening today that might be one of those knowledge people, like you're just soaking it in, getting more. But what I'm wanting to kind of carve out here, Teri, and I know you're with me on this, is that sometimes you get stuck in the analysis of paralysis, even in the knowledge of gaining that knowledge, that you're like, okay, I've got all this knowledge, and you just keep wanting, but you're not doing. And there is that balance, right? Yes, we need to know what to do, but you have to put the disciplines into action and just do something, right?
Do something.
And take action. Yeah. So, when you and I worked together, this has been many years ago, but you were looking. You were like, I'm looking for something that will work, because you're a knowledge girl. You had you've done a lot of research. You have done a lot of different fad diets and that kind of thing. So what would you say, maybe 1 or 2 things that you learned through Visibly Fit that really has set you up for success today?
Well, so here's how I came in. I came in wanting to release weight and feel better. Yeah. Okay. I was just like, okay, nothing's fitting anymore. I got some really cute stuff in my closet that I can't wear because my pants are too tight. My tops are whatever. It was just like, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good in my skin. Yeah. And here's the thing. it's all relative. We all have those feelings. So I don't care if you only have 10 pounds, 5 pounds, or 100 pounds. It doesn't matter. It's how we feel individually, right?
That's right.
And so when I came to you, I was just like, I was sick and tired, and I had tried everything. And so when it comes to the mindset, like I had consumed a lot of information, and what I was learning and trying to implement, it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for me. I just found myself back to circling the same mountain over and over again.
Yeah.
So when I heard about what you were doing, and you took a different approach, it was that plant-based approach, which I love. I'm not a meat eater, just in general. And so I wanted to learn more about that, because everyone's like protein and all of these things. And like looking at the labels and zero fats. And I had been bombarded with so many different types of ways to do it that I was just looking for a plan that worked. And I had seen the results that you had gotten for your clients. And so I'm like, all right, tell me more. What does this look like? But the key thing that why I was able to have success with your program, I think, was because of how you linked arms with me and came alongside me. Because knowing that I had somebody there not only guiding me on a weekly basis and holding me accountable, but also like answering my questions and reviewing the things that I was putting in my mouth. Like, I'll give you one example. So one way that I get protein, and without eating meat and stuff, is there's protein in nuts and different things like that, right?
Beans and legumes.
And lots of sources of protein, which it was one thing. Okay, I'm going to sidetrack for a second. One thing I didn't realize is how much protein is in broccoli.
Right.
And you educated me on that. And so it's like, oh my gosh, I just love broccoli anyway. So like, this is one way I get my protein. Okay. So nuts. So one of the things I was doing, I took a picture. I'm like, hey, I'm having my nuts. And I had like a huge portion of nuts.
Right.
And you're like, well, that's awesome. But hold up on the nuts, girl. Like, you can't eat the whole
Don't go nuts
container.
on the nuts, sister.
Like, you can't eat the whole entire container, right? And so it was all about like, okay, portion control, what is healthy? Because I think that's the other thing. We can eat too much of a good thing too.
Absolutely.
So that was what I learned with you. So I learned the value of the plant-based diet, or I don't even call it diet.
Lifestyle,
just lifestyle, because it's not. I mean, it's me. Like, I've been this way for years now.
Yeah.
And so the plant-based lifestyle, but also the portions, and then fueling just my body for like eating food for fuel, not just eating.
Right.
There's a difference.
Totally.
And we can make healthy choices.
Now
I have to be disciplined. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just saw you grow over that time, and you were inquisitive and you wanted to know, and I love that about you. But you put it into action, and you really welcomed the accountability, and you wanted the discipline in your life. You were ready. I think that's the thing. Just like when you work with your entrepreneurial clients, like they're ready to see a difference in their business, and we work together with my business. I mean, there's so many connections how we've worked together, and we're so much alike in the sense that we're both encouragers, and we want to lift one another up and lift those that we work with up and help people succeed. We want them to succeed. So anyway, I'm just proud of you, and you've carried on the Visibly Fit lifestyle for so many years, and it shows. Anyway, but I want to get back to mindset, because mindset is just one of those things that it's like, okay, someone listening is like, yeah, well, I thought I attacked that and handled that, and I thought I was on the right mindset and the right track. But you mentioned earlier a trigger, right? There are triggers that happen in life that can derail you. So let's talk a little bit about the triggers, and then the mindset on how to overcome that trigger and stay on the right track. Because you've overcome a lot of interesting, triggers in your life and hurdles, and you have broke through, and it's just, you have an incredible personal story. But talk to somebody out there that's like, I thought I was done with that, and I thought I was on the right mindset, and then this happened.
Yeah. Well, I just, bottom line, hands down, we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. And
Amen.
so the best thing that I did was pick up my Bible back in 2009.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to put it down. Why? Because that's our roadmap for living.
That's right.
And so if we are struggling with anything in our life, we can go to the word, and we have to stay connected to the vine. And so that's just like hands down like that.
They're
There's really, again,
non-negotiable.
well, and there's no purple pill. Like
Right.
every day we can get triggered with something, and then we have to remind ourselves of the truth, and we have to decide just to keep trying. So what happens is when we get triggered, it starts to think like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what it is, because there's so many different things, but like I could think I'm a failure, or I screwed up, or I'm not good enough, or all the lies that come in. And if we're not offsetting those with the truth, they will keep us stuck.
Yeah.
And that is I always say stuck is stale and gross, and nobody wants to stay there. So you just pick up, you evaluate where you're at, just say, okay, I screwed up, or I didn't do what I thought I was going to do, or I didn't handle that appropriately, or I blew up again at my spouse. I don't know, whatever it might be. Then you just say, okay, you own it.
Yeah.
I always talk about,
That's it. Own it. Right.
Clean up our side of the street, whatever we need to do so that we can eat off of it. Like it has to be that clean. So, okay, where was I wrong? How did I hurt somebody? Did I do something? Whatever. Okay, make that wrong right. Humble ourselves, apologize. I can't tell you how many times I apologize every single week to people.
So good, Teri. I love that. And I love that you are focused on, instead of blaming somebody else, you're like, no, how did I show up in this? And how did maybe I cause this situation to begin with? And maybe you aren't part of that equation, but maybe you are. And so just to have that conversation and assessment with yourself and with our creator, right? To really have that dialogue. I think that's powerful. It's taking ownership.
Well, and I always say, if things around you seem crazy or confusing or they're jacked up,
yeah. They're jacked up, look up. I think that's going to need to be the title of this podcast. If it's jacked up, look up.
Look up, right. But no, because that's true. We can always just go to our source and be like, all right, Lord, help me take my next right step. What is my next right step? Show me what I'm too blind to see. Reveal to me. One of my little prayers that I say frequently a lot, because there are times where I just have no words when I pray. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say right now. But I always just say, Lord, open my eyes to see, my ears to hear, and my heart to know. What is your will in this situation? What is your plan, your purpose? And then I'm just quiet because I don't know a lot and we don't have all the answers, but we can take our next right step. And then our next right one after that. And then after that, and then before you know it, we're moving forward. So we're going to screw up. Our mind's going to tell us crazy things. We're going to get off track, but guess what? Just keep trying. Just begin again. Keep trying. That's what I tell everybody. And
just
myself.
Keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Little Nemo, whatever. Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Can't remember the cartoon, but anyway, that's just it. I think we get tripped up on, it's so easy to get tripped up on the one thing and then you don't take the next step. It's like, like you said, just keep doing. Just keep doing and going back to God's word and knowing who you are and reset your mind, because we do have the mind of Christ, right? And we just need to be reminded and to walk that out in great authority. And so that's one of the things that I love about you too, Teri, is that you're so authentic and you're so real and raw. And you're like, I don't know everything, but, things are jacked up sometimes, but I look up and then I love that. And then we just keep pressing in and pressing on. And I think that that's the difference. And that's how success happens. If you talk to anyone, I mean, you are a very successful entrepreneur. Well, it didn't just happen overnight. I've been doing what I've been doing for a long time too, successfully. It didn't happen overnight. You just got to keep pressing into all the things that went wrong. And how do I fix this? God, give me the right tools and the right people to make this, correct. So how do you go about that? As a business owner and responsible for so many other people that are involved in your business, how do you, I guess, have the right mindset every day? I know it goes back to God's word, but over and beyond that, when things don't go right, are you constantly, do you have a word of affirmation? Do you have a certain scripture verse that you repeat over what you already told us, I guess? Open your eyes and your ears and your heart.
Yeah.
But is there one specifically to business that you kind of lean towards?
So I just call it plan, do, review. So PDR, plan, do, so we're going to plan it, we're going to do it, and then we're going to review it. And then we're going to shift or pivot or shut it down or keep going, PDR. So that's how we run everything in our business. So whether you're working on a project, you just say, okay, we're planning it, we're going to take action, implement, and then we're going to review it. How did it go? How's it working? And we do that every quarter too. So it's like, it's on project basis, but it's also quarterly, just like, hey, where are we at with our goals? We planned it, we did it, we reviewed it. Are we up? Are we down? Are we off? Did we make money? Did we lose money? Was this successful? Whatever. So it's just asking the questions and being really willing to be okay with not knowing all the answers too.
And maybe to pivot.
Well, that's just it. And I've done that so many times. Like I always tell my clients, I'm like, listen, I have had so many epic fails. Now you can learn from. Like I have gone before you on so many levels. Like you can learn from all of my very expensive mistakes, right? And I will teach you everything I know. So I learned from it. I learned from it. And I mean, I can't tell you how many tears I have shed over my business.
Yeah.
It's not an easy path. It's not.
We've had conversations, Teri, you and I both, like,
oh yeah,
I quit, done, we both have had.
Well,
these
you're one of my quitting partners.
But quitting, but not quitting, right? I'm like, oh no, you're not, Teri. And you're like, oh no, you're not, Wendie. So you got to have those people.
This is a prime example of why you invite in accountability, because here's the thing, my why.
Yeah.
And I know your deep why.
Yeah.
And so when I call you and I'm like, done, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm shut the doors tomorrow. This is so hard. I don't want to do this one more day. And you're like, no, Teri, remember why you're doing it. And you remind me and you talk me off a ledge. And I've done that with you. And that's, again, we can't keep our dreams and the things that we want to accomplish secret. And if you don't have anyone to share those things with, just ask God to bring somebody to you.
Yes.
Because that's what I always say. It's like, if you need somebody special in your life that gets you, just ask God, like, I need a friend, or I need a mentor, or I need somebody to help me that I can talk to, be transparent with, who is going to encourage me, but also speak truth into my life. Because we're not just yes girls either. Like, it's like, we're going to cheer you on. We're going to encourage you, but we're also love you enough to tell you the truth. Right. And so, but yeah, no, you are one of my quitting partners. You're on speed dial, girlfriend.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm grateful for you, Teri. And I know we have a special friendship, and that is a divine friendship. And so I'm grateful. But I want to go back to that plan, do, review, because that is so important, not just in your business, of course, but like I'm saying, everything is all intertwined, but with your health and your well-being. Plan it, do it, review it. If it's not working, why isn't it working? Is it you? So going back to assess, am I the part of the equation? Did I really not step up? Did I do only, half the work? Start to plan, do, review, and then pivot, and then get back right on track. So I love that, Teri. I love everything that you stand for. You're one of my soul sisters, and grateful for you, grateful for how you think, grateful for how you get other people to think, and just your heart for Jesus. So thank you for spending time with us. And do you have maybe just kind of any last words of wisdom as we close out this podcast?
I just want to encourage you to, or anyone listening, to see what it would take to strengthen your discipline muscle, because it's all boils down to what we're talking about. It's our mindset. Everything that we go back to, it has to be, it's self-discipline. Because at the end of the day, we're the only one responsible. I think about that, and you were talking about how you don't blame, right? Because when we meet our maker and we stand at that pearly gate, we can't say, oh, well, I didn't do this because my neighbor didn't. Like, no, like we can, it's self-discipline. We have the opportunity. And if we need help in that area, then we can grow in that muscle.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. We can grow in that area. And I love that. So that's just the one thing, especially the new year goals, all the things. Most of us, me included, need to continue to strengthen that muscle of self-discipline if I really want to get to where I'm going.
That's such a good word. Thank you, Teri, so much. And for people to find you, what is your website that they can go and find out your book, Overcoming the Nevers, and find out all the courses and incredible things you're doing? Give that website, please.
So it's just keepingitpersonal.com. Super easy. On the
Perfect.
top, it says book. Overcomingthenevers.com is also its own website. But yeah, keepingitpersonal.com is my website.
Awesome. Love you so much, Teri. And thank you so much for spending time with us. If you are listening right now and are struggling and looking for your next steps as far as your health and your wellness, go to getvisiblyfit.com and we can help you there. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Visibly Fit. We'll catch you next time. Well, that's a wrap for today's show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you. To learn more and get more free resources, just head on over to wendiepett.com. And thank you in advance for sharing this episode and this podcast, following and subscribing not only to this podcast, but finding me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, I'm probably there too. Until next week and our next podcast time together, make it a visibly fit day.